Today is the 7th day of the 7th month of the year. And today is, for the first time, the world is marking what? Swahili Day. The UNESCO member states in 2021 declared July 7th every year World Kiswahili Language Day. The world is welcoming the day with excitement and enthusiasm, as Kiswahili had already cut a niche for itself in most international media houses, including the BBC, the VOA, the RFI, Radio China, Radio Tehran, among many others. Kiswahili has also found a home as a language and as an area of study in many universities in Europe, the US, Canada, and Asia. Now Swahili is big globally. In Africa, Kiswahili is the only African language which is official language of the African Union. This is a major achievement, understanding that the rest have always been foreign languages like English, French, Arabic, Portuguese, and German. Swahili is big, my friend, City.
Yes, I'll listen to that list of supposedly foreign languages. I'm surprised Mandarin isn't in it.
Yet. Yet.
Yet.
It's heading there. It's heading there. We are quickly joined by a guest in the studio, because we're looking at this big headline today. Professor Tom Olali from the Department of Kiswahili at the University of Nairobi.
That's right.
Is with us. Good morning, Prof.
Morning to you.
It's good to have you on the show. Karibu sana. Today being a big day for Swahili language, you and your other Swahili academics must be feeling elated.
We are, and I'm just surprised that to others, it is World Kiswahili Day for today, 7th of July.
Yeah.
But for some of us, it's every day.
Every day is Kiswahili Day.
Every day. It is.
Why is Kiswahili important?
Oh, that is one question that we are asked everywhere we go. And especially Swahilists, Bantuists, linguists, and other scholars, and those who speak this language. Why is Kiswahili important? Kiswahili is important because first of all, it's an African language. It is the most spoken African language with over 200 million speakers. And as a matter of fact, if you look at UNESCO, who are the organizers of this event, even today in Kenya, is that it is looked at within two facets, that it is a language that brings world peace. It is a tool for communication. So just like any other language, the same question you'll ask somebody, why is English important? That's the same question you will ask, why is Kiswahili important? So if you have the answers for English, why English is important, then it answers why Kiswahili is important. And the only difference is that these are two different languages. Yes, thank you.
But tell me, Prof, I mean, as you're speaking, my mind decided to do a little traveling. Yeah? And I was thinking about the part of the world where the English language is spoken. It didn't, should we say, get assimilated into cultures in the same way. English is more or less forced on people because it's colonization that brought English to our shores. It's colonization that brought English to wherever it is that English was propagated. Same with the Portuguese, same with French. If I look at East and Central Africa, there was no occupying force that sort of like pushed people in the direction of the language. It is just the natural and normal socialization of people within the region and the language that actually spread the language. So, in a sense, the transition and the growth of Swahili language is actually a peaceful one. It's one that has happened, if I may use the term, organically. Would I be right in saying so?
You are.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, one of the issues that we grapple with every day is that Kiswahili existed. And we also have what is called the mother of Swahili language that existed, which is called the Proto-Swahili Language. In other words, for us as linguists and those who pursue Swahili language as a discourse, in our research we call it the Kingozi dialect. That is the Proto-Swahili. So Swahili is second. I'll call it L2 language. So we, just like Ngugi said, we really need to decolonize our minds. Okay, and give Swahili priority in every facet of society, you've got to give Swahili priority. And it is a peaceful language. And it is a peaceful language in the sense that when you look at the fractional use of Swahili, idiomatic expressions in Swahili, they're very, very peaceful. And if they are derogatory, then we have a very wide semantic field of usage. So, you know, the F words are non-existent in Swahili, and if they're there, there is a way that we put them in form of idiomatic expressions.
What are the root languages, or what is the root language of Kiswahili?
That one takes me almost a semester to teach, but just within the moment that I've been given. This is an African language. And there have been very, very wrong, I don't say hypothesis could be wrong, but because hypothesis actually is postulation. But there have been very, very wrong views on Swahili language. Others talk of Swahili as having originated from Arabic, or a mixture of Arabic and other languages. But Swahili is a Bantu language. This is a Bantu language just like Tsizulu, Kiluya, Kikuyu, and so on. There was a language which was referred to as Ngozi. Now, the Ngozi people, they were the first speakers of Swahili, the Ngozi people.
Where were they?
Now, the Ngozi, the hypothesis where the Ngozis were first found is something that researchers are still really debating. There's this part of coast, the Sabaki area, which we postulate probably that is where they emanated from. But when you look at it from the region of Cameroon, because that one will be really long, just put it in Kenya here. We have the Ngozi people. And the Ngozi spoke a Bantu language. And we say Bantu language in the sense that the structure of the language is that of a CK, that is consonant and vowel in the suffix and prefix ending. And the language of Kingozi is really difficult to comprehend. But in the Lamu archipelago, we have an odd, or if you like it in Arabic, it's called kasid, or in Swahili we call it kasida, that is intoned during the Maulidi festival. And they speak it in, they intone it or render it in Kingozi dialect. If I had time, I would just do you, just probably a line, then you really feel how it is.
You have time.
If you allow me.
You have time. One line. Oh, by all means, please.
Now, haki kwa kwilako mitume yonte uwingu nekule moja nikuya sama. Let me simplify.
Say it again. Ati?
Hali wa kwelakwe. Kwelako uwingu kumuya sama. Okay? Now, let me say we use archaic past tense. Archaic past tense. And I've rendered it in another manuscript, another version. There's also another version. Hali wakwelae, kwikwelako mitume yonte, uwingu kulotewa ni muja sama. I'll repeat it.
Sounds like Lingala.
Hali wakwelako mitume yonte, mitume yonte is mitume yote.
Na hali kwikwelakwe?
Hali is hal in Arabic. Right. Asking a question. Hali kwikwelako kuenda. Mitume yonte, who went to the seventh heaven, like the way the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to the seventh heaven. Who? So they are asking Christians who went and met God on the seventh cloud, which in Arabic is called Sidratul Muntaha. That is the last lot tree. Okay. In Swahili, we call it Mukunazi wa mwisho kwa Kiswahili. But in Arabic, it's Sidratul Muntaha. But it will take you like 3 hours to really get to know what the first line is. So there is a manuscript which it has 456 stanzas times 2. Each M stitch, so 2 M stitches. So that one has been rendered into Swahili for the first time by yours truly. And it is available in bookshops all over the world. So I've rendered it from Kingozi to Kiswahili, now to English. But it is only spoken during the Maulidi festival when party experts performing during the Milad Nabi.
So are you then saying that the pronouncements that you have just put before us would perhaps be found in the Kiswahili dialect that is often referred to as Kiamu?
Certain aspects, nuances. Kiamu is very different. Kiamu is very different. And of course, you will get certain, what I called, certain words. And let me not use lexical items. That's is very
technical.
linguistic, yes. But just words that are found in Amu dialect. Then you'll find them in Kingozi dialect as well. But remember that Kiamu dialect, this is Proto. This is the mother of Swahili language that we speak today. So it has archaic past tense. So whenever you see or you hear somebody saying kafikile, that le, which is a suffix, that is past tense of kufika, you see, kafikile. Yeah. And it is just Israel and Miraj, that first stanza. Yeah.
So if we were to juxtapose this with, say, the English language,
Yes.
so where would we go? Would we go to Latin? Would we go to Old English? Or would we go to German, the German language? Where would we go if we were to compare this proto-dialect?
Latin.
Okay.
Latin.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Over 200 million people speaking Swahili in Africa. Is that number increasing?
It is.
So is Swahili spreading? And tell us how.
Yes, it is spreading. I would say I'm a beneficiary of, having taught Swahili in South Korea, Hankook University of Foreign Studies, HOOFS. I taught Swahili in that university for 2 years, and also taught Swahili for 1 year in Tianjin Normal University in China. And also we have students who come. I've taught School of Oriental and African Studies, School of Oriental and African, SOAS, University of London, where I did my PhD. And in fact, the manuscript that I'm just rendering some of those stanzas, the original manuscript, handwritten, is found at SOAS. Where, in fact, of course, in the corridors, as I'm studying at SOAS, also Wajakwe was a student, so he has often quoted me, Olali, you were with him at SOAS. These are the days of just proving that you're with somebody in college.
Yes.
Anyway, Wajakwe is not listening at this particular time. But yes, it is spreading, and universities all over now. And the good news just from Uganda, just look at it, is now compulsory subject in secondary schools and primary schools. Ethiopia, we've got what is referred to as Chaukidu. This is Chama cha Kiswahili Duniani. We'll have a conference in Washington. That's end of next month. Yeah, so it is spreading. South Africa, West Africa. And in fact, Kiswahili just has to be given priority, given that languages like Hausa, they're really widely spoken, Hausa, but it's just within the conference of Nigeria and, the peripheries. But you see, like, Swahili is spread to, Malawi, everywhere. So in Middle East, 70% of universities in the United States of America, they study Swahili now. And we have students who come, Japan and so on, China, yes.
There's been conversations about making Swahili then the official language of Kenya, for example, where we see that in Tanzania. And then what are your thoughts on that? And would it be possible to inculcate that then from the very basic level of education? Do you think that it's worth looking into again?
It is. I'm afraid that one of these fine days you'll find someone going to court and filing a suit against government that a child has to be instructed in a language that they best understand. Okay? So that if you bring, actually, Swahili, English should be L2, in my view. That is second language. Then Swahili should be a priority. We don't lack vocabulary. Especially people have argued that, oh, no, scientific vocabulary and all that. We do. Now, time is coming, and very fast, when I think most institutions will prioritize Swahili in their both written, oral, and all that. And for the first time, and I'm really glad that His Excellency the President, Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, recently, Uhuru Gardens Monument and a museum, we have an exhibition there, and the text is in Swahili and then English. Not English and Swahili. So now it is Swahili first and then English second. And that's the way we are going. And I'm glad to say that I was the lead translator for the exhibition with Professor Kitako Ambere as my deputy. Thank you.
Why is it so difficult for students in Swahili in school? Because one of the most difficult subjects that most students are having problems with today is Kiswahili.
Yes.
Why is that?
Attitude. Yeah, it is just, that's the answer. That's the answer. People have asked me, oh, Prof. Olali, you come from the Lake region. How come, and you speak Nilotic language, how come you speak in Swahili, you've written in Swahili, you are a novelist, and you've written quite a number of good award-winning hallucinatory realism Swahili texts, novels. And I say it is attitude. Why is it not English? English is not difficult, and it is, it is a colonial language brought to us here. So it is just an attitude that people see that if I speak Swahili, for example, people will see that maybe I haven't gone to school. You're
not educated.
I'm not educated. People ask me, you did your Swahili in the University of London? I say, I did. Yeah, in the University of London. That's why I did my PhD in Swahili. So it is just attitude. Parents, and I tell my daughter, for example, she wants to pursue medicine. I say that if you don't pass in Swahili, then you don't get into medicine at all. So
it's possible, because I remember growing up that the first language I spoke, incidentally, was Hausa, and then I spoke Igbo, and then before I spoke English. So it is possible to have these languages for children if you actually speak them at home before you go to school.
Yes.
So then it's possible to have a Swahili-speaking nation if children, for example, are spoken to by their parents, or the preservation of culture, language being one of those elements, then is really seen as a priority.
Yes.
Then you can have a Swahili-speaking nation if you do it from the age of
Yes, and we also need to prioritize our call them mother tongues, but first language, and then Swahili. So Swahili should really be spoken around. There are homes that I think when we were growing up in primary school, if you spoke in Swahili, then you are given what was referred to as a disc. And then they will cane you late in the evening. In Swahili, we say kadamnasi, mbele ya kila mtu na chapa viboko kweli kweli, because it was spoken Swahili. So that one, they discouraged quite a number of, and teachers also in secondary school. My first degree is Bachelor of Education, and I think teachers told students, no, it is English, physics, chemistry, and all this. So Swahili was given. But because I've spoken to quite a number of students in secondary schools, primary schools, the benefits of Swahili. Oh, there are people, millionaires here, because of Wala bin Wala, for example, gets his check. I don't want to quote how much, but for me, I tell students that I've visited over 40 countries, not because of English, but because of Swahili. Yes, yeah. My first international flight I took to University of London, Heathrow, 23rd September 2000, because of Swahili. Yes.
But Professor, the status association with the languages, as you say, it is a colonial hangover, but it's the reality. However, I have found with time that very many families, I'm talking about the generation of families whose children are probably in primary school, speak more and more Kiswahili than their own mother tongue. So there's a reversal in the status association with Kiswahili.
Yes.
Yes, I saw this in the Lake region where I worked for a very long time. where you would assume that the first language spoken to the children would be the Luo.
Yes.
It was Kiswahili. Yes. So again, once Kiswahili is seen or is seen in the light of having a status other than the diminished one that it was associated with, then people embrace it easily.
Yes. And more often than not, apart from attitude that I mentioned, you see also there are certain events that took place within the region that made some people hate Kiswahili. A good example is Uganda. It's only Museveni now is trying to revive it. But people, assumed that Idi Amin, that was the language of the oppressor. The Idi Amin, Jeshi, and all that, his army, used Swahili to oppress on the people. And also people assume that Swahili is Islam. Okay, so wale walokole are now, these are religious fanatics, believe that this one is associated with Islam and so on. But the future is too bright for Swahili. Yes.
So what do we expect to see as the world starts marking Swahili Day? Okay.
Yes.
What do we expect to see in coming years as an impact of this recognition?
Yeah, one thing is that we are happy that SADC, EAC, East African Community, AU, now Swahili is one of the languages that speak, documents, government documents, and so on, it's Swahili is being incorporated, Africa, many schools and all that. But I think that in future, we'll have Swahili Day that is recognizable with real concrete events, because this we are having actually for the first time today, UNESCO, and we're going to have this march from KICC from 10 o'clock, and having some talks, and then the apex will be at the National Museums of Kenya later on from 4, probably around 8:30 thereabouts. So yeah, Waziri will come. Okay. Yeah. So, but the future is good. I think we'll have it as I don't want to put it compulsory, or in Latin they say condition sine qua non, that it must be. But I think we, step by step. These days I don't like giving. There's a course that still exists in the universities, that the development of Kiswahili and so on, and that we are there. I think we are there already, and sooner or later we'll be having celebrations to mark these events, not just once a year, but
more regular. Yeah. Professor Tom Olali, thank you very much.